Good day to you all. My name is Dr. Bonnie Higgins, and I've been the project manager for the concept-based curriculum. And it's been going on for about 3 years and has been very challenging, and would like to share a tool that is very important in pulling all the pieces together. I have a long history with nursing education and nursing practice, and so I can identify with many of the questions that you might have. One is, what is a concept? And why a concept-based curriculum? And a concept is simply an organizing principle or a way to classify information. And why is your school using the concept-based curriculum would be a question you might have, and that is because of content overload. When I first started my nursing career as a student many decades ago, I thought there was enough content to take me into a 10-year course of study, but instead that is not what happened. And as time has gone by, content has grown, and there's been more and more to learn, and so there is a content saturation, a content overload that we have to get a handle on of how can we provide the information to students in a way that they can retain all that we expect of them and what they expect of themselves. So with creating a tool to do this and using the concept-based curriculum, we are hoping that habits of thoughts or patterns of recognition will occur. Your school is part of a consortium which has chosen 43 concepts. Some schools use 12 concepts, some use 52, some use 56, some 48. There's no perfect number. It doesn't matter, just as long as the concepts cover the expected nursing care that will be provided. With each concept, there is an exemplar. An exemplar is simply a word that means example. And so there are examples under each concept to help you understand that concept better. For example, there's the concept of elimination. The exemplars under this could be diarrhea, it could be constipation. So they're simply examples. And there are advantages to the concept-based curriculum. One is the thought that deeper understanding of a core set of concepts is understood by students, that you actually recognize and understand similarities and recurring characteristics which can be applied more effectively then to the patient care. There's no longer time or there's not space in the brain to memorize all the facts that there are out there, but if there are comparison and contrast and reminding of what happened before, then it is much easier for you to retain, well, this happened in that patient's situation, therefore I can apply it to this person's situation because the same concept is involved. So it's not necessary to know it all, not rote memory where the memorization of facts, but rather this is the application of knowledge, therefore practicing at a higher level sooner in your career. So it is based on similarities and then prioritization occurs. We've created a tool to help with this process, and it's really just simply called the concept of analysis diagram. We have actually analyzed each concept, and there are 43 concepts. The various faculty have created these diagrams to help you with the process of understanding. So what I would like to do is to cover the diagram with you that is in a blank format, and yet you can see that it includes definitions. What you see on the screen is the full page that every concept has, just like it, except for that the diagram portion is completed. But I'm going to enlarge this, and we'll look at the bottom portion of this diagram, and I will mention what the definitions are as we go along. I'm going to just leave it like this for a little bit so that you can see what we're talking about. The first part of the diagram, if we start in the upper corner, is the nursing care. The nursing care, primary and secondary and tertiary, simply covers all aspects of nursing care prior to illness, illness, and then recovery from illness. But the nursing care box is slightly above everything else because it oversees and is assessing all that are implied here. Another box just below the nursing care box is the antecedent box. This box represents everything that must be in place before a concept can occur. So it's easy to remember that definition because ante means before, and so things that are listed here have to be in place before the concept occurs. The concept will always be listed in the middle, and it will have the definition that goes with it. And from the when the concept is working optimally, then we have attributes that occur. So a nurse would assess the attributes to make sure that the concept is functioning okay. So when you're looking at attributes, you would think optimal functioning. But if you will notice back to the arrows, the nursing care has a dotted arrow to attributes and it has a dotted arrow to antecedents. That is because nursing care is not happening every minute of the day, and maybe not even for years. It happens as the patient needs it. Therefore, there's the dotted arrows to each. So dotted arrows assessing, is everything in place for the concept to work well? And dotted arrows to assessing the attributes, is it working optimally? Then if we go down a little bit lower on the diagram, we will see that there are consequences or outcomes that occur when the concept is working. These consequences could be negative or they could be positive. Again, you see a solid line to the consequences because consequences are going to happen. But will they be negative or positive? That is a variable that can change. So if the concept is working optimally, then there will be positive outcomes that we can measure, that we can see are happening. However, if the concept is weakened and not functioning optimally, then we have negative outcomes which would occur, which show to you that the concept is not functioning optimally. And if we do have the negative consequences showing, then it would remind us that we need to assess this patient again. We need to go back and look. Are there some antecedents that are not in place, that are not working well, that are setting the concept up to not function well? We would also reassess the attributes. What is not normal here within this? And these would guide, the assessment of these two things would guide the nursing interventions that occur. But while we are looking at interventions that might occur, we would also look at the interrelated concepts. If you'll notice, there's a dotted line and the arrow is going both directions. It is going both directions because the interrelated concepts may impact the priority concept, or the priority concept may impact the interrelated concepts. The interrelated concepts that you will see listed on each of the diagrams will be one of those 43 concepts that we mentioned earlier that your school has agreed to teach from. So when we go on down to the subconcepts, we see there's simply a straight line going to subconcepts. It's a straight line because the subconcepts are simply a tool to remind the instructor or yourself what are some key points in relation to the concept itself. So these would be things that would probably be covered in the theory class in relation to the concept. So when we're looking at this diagram, we're going, what is so important about it? One of the things that's important is that it actually helps you to know what is critical in order for something good to come about in the patient as far as their ability to function in this world. It gives you directives. Your A and P is really listed in your antecedents, and then your assessment, the things that you're really looking for as a goal, are listed in your attributes. But the beauty of this analysis is that it personalizes this to the individual patient, the interrelated concepts. Which ones apply to this patient? They are not the same that apply to each patient. They are different, and therefore you are able to give patient care that is very focused on this particular patient. And so that is a brief introductory to the analysis diagram, and now you will get on to see the analysis diagrams that are very specific to a concept.